you got to be humble to yourself. You got to be humble, to the fact that like there's so many different possibilities, and you don't know which one's gonna happen. It may not even be any of the possibilities that you thought about. First we can only think so infinitely. Okay, I think I made up a new word. Maybe I did. I think I'll go back and check that. But there's infinite possibilities, and our thought process cannot number them all. And even if we did, we still wouldn't be prepared for them. And like you said, we only can control what's going happening within us, and just don't be so married to to the results, to the outcome, or sometimes we get married to the process and totally lose track of like of what our true purpose, true intention is. And when you get caught up in the process, it's like, oh, okay, let me stop here and check on this. Let me stop here and check on this. But like, have you checked in with yourself? Have you checked in and see if this aligns with your values? Uh, and like I said, the secret is faith. Faith has been so good to me. But as I lead with the last question, there's so many people who's going to hear this is like, oh yeah, screw this, I'm quitting my job tomorrow to find my purpose. And you know what happens? Sometimes it results in a total meltdown. And what advice do you have for people to avoid that total meltdown?
Mm-hmm. So I want to remind everyone as well, and also in my work, the message here is not to quit your job. That's not the message. The message is that exact sentence when I mentioned to you what I do is I help people get closer to themselves. That means if you're aware of, you are not satisfied with something in your life, lean into it. Look at the discomfort, get closer to yourself, because that discomfort is sending you a message.
Yeah.
And spend some time, really commit some time for yourself to just sit down with your thoughts and your feelings. I always suggest to write them down, because then it literally is out of your system, like from your head, from your heart. It's now on paper and you can read it as if it's a novel, right? And then when you read what you just wrote, see it through compassionate eyes. I know it sounds another big word, oh, by you, compassion, but see it really as if your best friend just wrote a letter. And then see what is it actually that he's trying to say. And then once you are able to see that, practicality, just like you mentioned before, it's so beautiful that you mentioned it. Sometimes we just lose also in the process, but not seeing, the KPIs or where is it that we want to go, So it's a balancing act. And that's why the awareness is super important, to remind ourselves again and again, why are we doing this in the very first space, so we keep just to check, are we still moving in the path that we chose? Are we still moving in the path, in the direction that we want to go to, right? There's a beautiful picture. It's almost like riding a bicycle. So when you see someone is riding a bicycle, you see as if that person is riding in a straight line. But in actuality, like they're always balancing. Sometimes it's a little bit to the left, sometimes a little bit to the right. They're always micro balancing. But from the macro point of views, it seems like that person is going straight, right?
Yeah.
So this balancing act happens, right? While we are going where we want to go. So coming back to your questions, yeah, these are all big decisions. So what should I do? That will be the first things, because understanding myself, having that awareness about my state of being, and then understanding my desired state of being, and then calculating the risk, practicality as well, just like you mentioned. So don't quit your job tomorrow if then the day after tomorrow you are panicking, and then how do I pay my rent? Create that, let's say, risk management. And then that quality that both of us mentioned before, faith, because you will never know. Have the humility to accept blessings, from
Yeah.
God, universe, the higher self, from love, however you want to call it. Have the humility to accept help from others. And then once you combine everything, just like you mentioned, Marcus, things will happen that you wouldn't be able to think about it right now, because it's out there, and you need to take that leap of faith to unlock them and to welcome them into your life.